Many times they forget to mention that one of the things that I do right now is I'm a waiter. That's what I do for a living. I work as a waiter along with my wife, and it's a different concept. I'll share a bit. But I grew up with very difficult challenges, and I have really come to a point where I wonder, why do educational institutions invite me to come and speak? I've spoken at this very place a few years ago. I speak at graduations. My wife and myself, we are both educationally compatible. My wife is from Nagaland and I'm from Bangalore. And my wife has done she's 9th standard appeared and I'm 10th standard failed. So that is our educational background. And I could not finish my 10th standard because I was put in a school which had certain systems, and it was highly academic and did not give me a chance to think. And I struggled a lot with no identity, always being compared. My father, being an aerospace scientist, he came from a remote village in Andhra Pradesh with no electricity, and he worked hard and he became a scientist. That is great. But how can you medically prove that every firstborn son will have the same brains like the father? But yet our culture is such that they push and push us to becoming something that we don't necessarily have the calling for. You see, you can't get a Benz car experience out of a Maruti 800. But that's what our culture does. And they pushed me, and I failed every year. And but the teachers did not like me, so they didn't keep me in the same class. So they kept shifting me to the next class. And when I reached in my 10th standard, they said that, Benny, we have never had a single failure in this Kendriya Vidyalaya, and you are going to create history by being the first ever failure of the school. And they called my parents and said, if you promise to take your son off the school, we will give him a pass certificate. So I was diplomatically kicked out of the school. And today I tell the world that I could not finish my 10th standard because the Indian educational system was not up to my standard. And this is something that I'm really struggling and understanding, because having failed in 10th standard, and I'm asked to come and inspire the educational world. And something is really wrong. Like, I was asked to speak at a very reputed college in our country where the cutoff percentage is 97.8. And here they come and ask me to speak to 1,500 students, the cream of the society. I said, something is wrong, because I struggle to get 33.5%. And here they want me to inspire the cream. So when I went on the stage and I said, when you do well in studies, your goal is to join this college. And with pride, they were all nodding their heads. I said, when you don't do well in studies, you become a speaker at this college. And that was the headlines in the newspaper. I was thinking, if all of us could know what our passion and our purpose is, and if we could put that into the educational world, because education is good as long as it equips you to fulfilling your dreams. Other than that, it's just a waste, because it's a piece of paper. And one marks card cannot decide everything in life. And today you look at people, I was just talking to someone, she has done bachelor's in mechanical engineering with a special focus on aeronautics, and right now she is working in HSBC. You see what a waste that is when I look at things. The reason also is because the system pushed her to doing something which she would not want to do that. And what if we all could identify our focus and our purpose? Our 15 years of education can come down to 6 years and we can do far better. Like a 9th standard student is asking me, Benny, why should I study algebra and trigonometry and these things? I said, it's good for you. He said, when was the last time you used trigonometry? I said, I can't think of it. He said, you as a 42-year-old guy, you have not even used that. Why should I study? How do you answer these questions, which are very important too? As much as we try to gain knowledge, but we need to gain the right knowledge. We need to gain knowledge that will help us to become what we are meant to, what we are called for. And I struggled with this, being compared to my brother and 3 sisters, to the neighbors, to the bus drivers' children, conductors' children, everywhere. Because you're just compared and you can't live anymore in this world just being you yourself. And I struggled with this thought. And on top of that, I was born with asthma. From the age of 2 till the age of 16, I was on wrong medication. And as a result of that, 60% of my lungs got damaged, my immune system broke down, and I developed rheumatoid arthritis. And at 16, the doctors gave me 6 months to live. Now tell me, friends, why would you want to live another day when you are a shame to your family, a curse to the educational world, and now the medical world says that you have 6 months to live? I had no reason to live one extra day. I was completely shattered. When everyone were planning their dreams and their future, here I have my 10th standard fail certificate and a report that says you have 6 months to live. So I contemplated to commit suicide, thinking that the world has come to an end in my life because the Indian society says you fail in academics, you have failed in life. That is not true. But that's what it says. And I struggled. And as I contemplated to kill myself, at the lowest point of my life is when I heard the voice of Jesus Christ. And I heard him say that, Benny, even though you are called worthless and useless to the society, I can transform your life and make you a new person. And for me, that journey started off afresh when I started to look at life as a gift from God. I know, my friends, many of you struggle with challenges, with comparison. Sometimes we sit in the wrong classroom, and that's why we don't even feel like studying. And you look at me like I struggled with Hindi. I was put in the wrong classroom. I struggled with some of the subjects, and yet when I had to practice my guitar, the piece which I'm going to play for you before I end, it took me 2,000 hours of practice. Imagine if your passion, your purpose, your studies, everything comes to the same place. 2,000 hours without being monitored still can be a great joyful thing. For me, my parents used to pay 50 paisa every hour to study. Even that I could not study actually. That's the difference. And today, even though I was considered as a failure in my past, but look, I could be a different person. So just because the system says that you cannot do it, please don't throw your life away. You are called to to take your footprints on an uncharted territory. For that you need to have courage. For that you don't need to follow just what the system says. You really need to follow the passion in your life, your dreams. And for me, one such dream was to travel the world. Now, how can you travel the world when you're a failure and you have no money and you have an Indian passport? You see, a wrong combination of all these things. At least now the Indian passport has value. At least we can go to 60 countries without a visa. But in those days, it was tough. Even unknown countries, there were challenges. And I prayed to God. I said, God, give me the strength. My dream is to go to one country. I just want to take off. Whether I land or no is not my concern. I just want to take off. And that was my thing. And I was 23 years old when I started off my first journey from Trivandrum to Sri Lanka in Colombo. And I said, wow, I truly can fly. And my dream was, God, I want to travel. But how can I travel the world? And I said, what is your plan for my life? What is your divine plan for my life? I know that we live in a scientific world. For me, spirituality has been such a key part of my journey. From being a broken, worthless, dying soul to coming to this place, it was a spiritual journey that brought a great joy and adventure in my life. And that's when I know in 2002, I had this vision that I will travel to every country by 2010. I had 4 financial principles which the financial world still struggles to understand. How is it possible? 4 principles. 1, I will never ask for money. 2, I'll never borrow money. 3, I will never take a loan from the bank. And 4thly, I will not trust the credit card. With these 4 financial principles, I started my journey. You can show the world map on the screen, please, and let me show you my passport. So this is my one passport, and I love this passport. It's made in India, Republic of India. I'm an Indian, and that's how I travel the world. Sorry, too many lines, that is not very clear. But on 22nd of November 2010, I arrived in my last country, Pakistan, and I broke 6 world records. And one was, I became the fastest man in the world, both sovereign and dependent, fastest to travel to every sovereign and dependent country in 6 years, 6 months and 22 days. That is 245 countries, including Antarctica. And my favorite part is carrying this passport at the immigration desk. You must see the facial expression of the officer. When you put the passport across, generally they don't smile. But when you put something like this, they are confused. And some of the smart ones would say, sir, please don't come as a family, come one person at a time. And when I tell them that I am this one person, they are amazed. They say, first thing, what have you studied? That's the thing, Who said that you need to have some kind of a degree to pursue your dreams? You need to have passion. You need to have purpose first. And two, you need to have passion. If you have purpose and passion, together you can do wonderful, amazing things. And for me, this is what I could do. And I could travel to all kinds of countries which people have not even heard of. One such country is the last dot on the left-hand corner called Pitcairn Island. I failed in geography, but I live geography today. So this country is so far away that from the nearest airport it takes 2 days by boat. But the boats are available once in 3 months. When I arrived in this country, they said, Benny, you're going to do the first ever concert in 200 years. I was just so thrilled to create history. And I sat down there to perform. The organizers came and said, sir, you will not believe this is the largest gathering we ever had. I said, what do you mean? He said, the entire population of the country is 66 people and 52 people have come for the concert. That is 80% of the country that has come. You see, at one point I was a failure, but my life did not end there. I journeyed across, and today I could do wonders with my life. I've been to 257 countries. There's no more countries left. Having traveled to all these countries, reached at the peak of my life, doing everything, I said, it is time for me not to build my empire, but to give back into the society. And that's when I went ahead and built this cafe called Chai 316. The next picture, please. This is a 400-seater cafe, the next picture. And it's a very unique cafe where we only serve tea and the price of the tea is decided by the students. So it is one such place which is running under loss but doing extremely well. We have no debts, we have no challenges at all, but the beauty here is 80% we listen and 20% we talk. And every day, at least 50 to 60 people walk in. And every week we rescue one young boy or a girl from committing suicide, which means 50 lives every year we save them from committing suicide. These are ones, physically they're well. It's just that mental illness is not even talked about in our culture. Many times you see that we are so advanced in so many things, but when it comes to mental health, we are really backward actually. And here at 16, with my mental challenge, I wanted to kill myself. And if God could give me this life and life abundantly, that I could enjoy this world that He has blessed me with. I believe that there's so much of great potential in this world, but just because the system says you cannot do it, you feel like quitting. And here what we do is we listen to their problems. The longest one sitting session we had was 8 hours. A depressed engineering student came at 11 in the morning and he left at 7 in the evening. We listened to him for 8 hours. In that listening, he found his purpose. He found his joy. He knew that his life is far greater than the challenges that he is facing in today's world. So, my friends, at the greatest heights that you would really achieve, think about investing back into somebody's life. Be humble. Be real. Be someone where there is greater joy in investing back into the society. At the peak of my career, this is what I could do. And I'm so thrilled. And the best part of a cafe, again, talking about creativity, is our toilets. Our toilets are the best in the world. The last picture, please. So this is how our toilets look. They're very musical. The girls' toilet is in the shape of a piano and the boys' toilet in the shape of a guitar. With the limited knowledge that we have, we try to do our best. And many times the students say, sir, the toilet looks so good, I don't feel like using it. You see? But whatever we do, we try to give our best. But you have to do it with the right principles. There are challenges in this world. For example, when I take my passport, my first passport, when I turn it across, my first country that I traveled as a concert musician was to Russia, 19th of February 2002. First concert. Imagine so thrilled I am to create this journey. And I landed in Moscow and they asked me for a bribe of $50, about 2,000 rupees. But you see, I'm an Indian and I'm a Christian. I don't give a bribe because it is against my ethics. It is against my identity as an Indian. And because I refused to pay a bribe, they detained me in the airport for 30 hours. For 30 hours, I was treated like a criminal. I was humiliated. I was shamed. My people are waiting outside for the first concert that I'm going to perform. And I was challenged at the very beginning with ethics, with moral values. But I continued. And after 30 hours, they called me and they said they have decided to deport me back to India. What a glorious opening ceremony I had. But I did not give up. And today when I look at this passport, I've learned a lesson. Don't allow your starting to shape the way you finish. Don't allow your beginning to shape the way you end. With your values, your principles, we can change our country. Corruption exists because of you and I. Because if we all stop to give that extra money what they demand, there is no room for corruption. Take a stand. And I believe that India will change if you and I take a stand and not go into some other country. I was offered 4 nationalities to change my citizenship actually. But I kept my Indian passport, even though it was challenging. Today I know that I can make a difference as an Indian. As I close by playing this song on my guitar. And this is the guitar that I designed in 2004 for the Olympics when I was invited to play at the cultural stages. If I could perform on a guitar like this with no proper knowledge, but with passion and purpose meeting together, you can do wonders with your life if you know your purpose and your passion. Enjoy this song.